And this will be a fun setup too. For the one thing I do like about doing the little videos too, as well, is it's a reminder of like, oh yeah, where was I during that episode? What was I doing?
I know.
It's cool. It's very fun. All right, so we are going to now do the lightning round. Okay.
Okay.
And you are only the second person to experience these lightning round questions.
Wow.
Yeah. So a new set that was just sent in. These are sent in by the listeners and everything like that.
Okay.
So very exciting stuff. And everyone knows that these questions you have not seen before.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
First thing that comes to the top of your head, try not to think too hard about it. Okay. What is the nicest compliment you've ever received?
Well, I'm obsessed with Kate Winslet, and someone once told me that I reminded them of Kate Winslet with my performance, and I hugged them.
That's a good idea. Thank you. I love
and
that.
I could never be so bold as to think that I was even close, but like they didn't know that I loved Kate Winslet when they said that.
So they must have really thought it.
I hope so.
That's perfect. What is your favorite kind of cookie?
Chocolate chip.
Chocolate, just a straight up chocolate chip.
Yeah,
It's a classic.
like a gooey.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's nothing worse than when you get a chocolate. Well, there's lots of things worse, but then a chocolate chip cookie that you're like, oh, it's gonna be so tender, and then you bite into it. It's one of those like
rock
crisp,
hard,
and it falls onto your jeans.
I know,
and,
but wait, is a macaroon a cookie? Because now I want to change my answer.
Are those little like soft, fluffy things that are sometimes pink and blue and all these crazy colors?
Well, okay, so there's macaroons and macaron.
Exactly.
And macaron
See, this is
is the
conversation.
one that's like a sandwich.
Yes.
And those are my favorite thing ever.
Wait, was that macaron or macaroon?
Macaron, like the
macaron.
French one.
Yeah.
That's like made of almond flour and eggs.
Yes.
And they're super hard to make, so I never bake them, and
Yeah.
I don't even know if I would know how. But then a macaroon is like coconut, sometimes like half dipped in chocolate.
Yes.
And I
you
love
like-
those too.
You like
but
them
I
both.
don't know if those are cookies. They're just other desserts.
That's fair. Well, you could have got. I like that. We'll go with. It's all perfect.
Okay,
it's
great.
Wonderful. What is a subject outside of theater that fascinates you?
Urban planning.
Ooh, very, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Does that? Well, I guess, and I mean, a tour would be perfect for something like that to like go and see
yeah.
how different. What city is killing it? Like what-
Berlin.
Berlin.
Yeah.
Berlin is like, oh, they've got this whole thing figured out.
I mean, from an outside perspective, I
of
think
course.
so.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's my favorite city in the world. But I mean, I love finding out more. I am such an armchair expert with urban planning. Like if I ever meet an urban planner, I'm like, let me tell you
about it.
what I think.
That's awesome.
And I read tons of stuff about it. And
Cool.
I mean, I'm super passionate about like bike infrastructure and rapid transit and things like that.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I love that. If you could write a show about a historical event, what would it be and why? And then this is the question: would it be a musical or play?
Well, I have this idea that's been brewing for a long time, and having never, I wrote in university a little bit, but I'm really fascinated by muses.
Cool.
I'm really fascinated by women behind the men who were the famous ones.
Yeah.
For example, like artists.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my favorite show is Sweeney in the Sunday in the Park with George. Sweeney in the Park with Todd. Sunday in the Park with George, because of the relationship between Dot and George,
Yeah.
and her being a muse to him and her wanting to be a muse, and that whole push and pull between muse and artist.
Yeah.
But then there's another aspect to it, where I love learning about, like, this is a niche area of interest for me, but I've always been fascinated with the Third Reich and the rise of Hitler,
Yeah.
and the people who surrounded him, and especially the women who looked the other way or enabled that behavior. And I'm not ascribing fault entirely to them,
of course.
but you know, even Hitler's mistress, Ava, who I find such a fascinating character, so dark and so, I mean, she was such an opportunist and social climber. And so anyway, I read a lot about like the women behind the men that we know in history. And I've often thought about these like conversations between like a kind of like a Last Days of Judas Iscariot sort of thing, where it's all these like people throughout history, but it's all the women.
Yeah. Well, there's this,
the men.
there's this whole other side of history for sure that hasn't been explored. It's like that Six musical that's happening with the 6 Why. That should be super, super cool.
Totally.
What is a difficult task that you keep putting off?
Writing.
Right? There you go. That's a
Yeah.
great one. Nice.
Yeah.
What is your theme song? Like when a boxer comes out to like go for a fight, what would be your song?
Oh, wow. That's great. Well, like the first one that comes to mind is Heart Alone.
Okay.
That like rocker power ballad, but like it's not because of the lyrics, but it's like I just love that build into the chorus when it's like those power chords just like over and over again, and then that like the drums building into the chorus.
Cool.
I'm running out to that.
I'm into that. Yeah, for sure. A scene from a movie or a play that has always stayed with you.
That bench scene in Good Will Hunting.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Very
that
cool.
I mean, like you spit and you find someone who that scene affected, but like I was just in Boston on tour and I went to that park because it was only like a 10-minute walk from my Airbnb, and I sat on that bench and I like watched the scene on my phone and just had a little cry.
Oh, that's really cool.
Thought about the things Robin Williams told Matt Damon.
Oh, that's sweet. Pop star or movie star, and why?
Favorite?
If you had to be one.
Oh, movie star.
Movie star? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, for sure. What is something you can't go a day without saying?
A day without saying? Wow, what a good question. Huh. I mean, like, this may be so sappy, but like, thank you.
No, that's great. I love that. That's a great answer. Yeah, for sure. It's funny. It either goes the way of like, like something sweet like that, or it's like a thing that people always say. So I love that. That's perfect.
Oh, you mean like a mantra or something?
Yeah. Or I mean, sure. Yeah. Do you have a mantra? Because that question is also kind of like, do you have a saying that sums up your personal philosophy?
I do. It's not entirely memorized, but I'm working on memorizing it. And it's the Desiderata by Max Ehrmann. Well, the first line is, go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence.
Sweet.
As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all people. It's just all these kind of
it's kind of a good thing to like
agreements.
Keep your sweet. What's that called again, so people can look it up?
Desiderata.
Okay.
It means desired things or things desired.
Sweet. Very, very cool.
And it's one of the most beautiful things I've ever read, and every time it comes back into my life, I read it and weep, really.
Yeah,
like it's
totally.
a beautiful philosophy.
It's funny how some of those writings do come back into your life like that.
Yeah.
And this is the last one. What is one unhealthy or junk kind of food that you would want to turn into a superfood?
Ruffles, all dressed chips.
Really?
Yes.
Is that, I just found this out, but they don't have all dressed chips down in the States, eh?
You're telling me.
Oh, I did not know that. I knew everyone chats about the ketchup chips not being down there, but no one mentions the all dressed.
Ask anyone in my cast. I've gotten them all addicted.
That's amazing.
Because every time someone comes to visit me from Canada, I'm like, okay, bring bags. Like, you better leave room in your suitcase.
Totally. My reverse one of those is Fruity Pebbles down south. I love Fruity Pebbles. They don't have them up here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
wow.
but that's cool. All dressed chips. Love it.
Oh, man, I can eat a whole bag. I can murder a bag.
Amazing. Well, that was a very successful, I can murder a bag all dressed chips. A very successful lightning round, though. I'm just going to turn off the video and everything, and then we will finish up.
Great.